What if I really was someone else?
I Saw the TV Glow is a strange movie. And I mean strange even by A24 standards. It's the type of movie that's definitely not going to be for everybody, but the people who do connect with it are going to get a lot out of it. It's a movie you definitely want to watch with other people so you can immediately discuss it with them. So let's discuss. Picture this. It's the 90s, it's the suburbs, and a lonely teenage boy, Owen, is just trying to live his life and figure out who he is. He meets a girl, Maddie, who introduces him to a mysterious Monster of the Week type late-night TV show.
The Pink Pig? Yeah. Do you watch?
As years go by, the show becomes very important to the two of them until eventually they begin to question their reality. The funny thing is, describing this movie makes it sound like it's a straight-up psychological horror film, which is also the impression the trailer gives you. But the truth is, the movie is much closer to something like Beau's Afraid or I'm Thinking of Ending Things than it is to a more traditional version of that subgenre. While you will find some very unsettling and even spooky moments in it, I Saw the TV Glow is a dark coming-of-age drama that's much more concerned with the state of mind of its characters, with understanding their experience, than it is with actually scaring the viewers. It's about their journey of self-discovery and of figuring out where they fit in the world. It's about dealing with loneliness and isolation, and about those characters finding themselves through media, in this case through this particular TV show. While this is a very different film from the director's previous feature, We're All Going to the World's Fair, and I will say I definitely liked I Saw the TV Glow more, that through line of loneliness and getting lost in the reality behind the screen is still very much there. I really appreciate that Jane Schoenbrunn keeps wanting to explore that connection between coming of age and the media that shapes us. I'm going to be honest, this is a movie that resonates much more emotionally than it does narratively. As a story, it feels uneven. There are pacing issues. The characters leave you wanting more. The ending feels pretty abrupt, but there absolutely are unforgettable moments that hit really hard and that almost make the imperfections in the movie make sense. You never get the feeling that this is meant to be some kind of perfectly neat movie, because it's about people, and it's particularly about that experience of struggling to live authentically, about finding the courage to accept yourself, and nothing about that is neat. Life is not neat. So even though the film isn't perfect, it's also kind of just beautiful the way it is. And speaking of being beautiful, I Saw the TV Glow really is aesthetic perfection. You can absolutely see that in the trailer, but it's not like they just picked the best shots. There is so much more of all of that in the film, from 90s nostalgia that actually feels and looks like the 90s, to moody shots that often tell the story louder than words, and a beautiful neon glow. The made-up TV show, The Pink Opaque, is shown so perfectly that it will have every millennial thinking back to the shows they were watching growing up. It's spot on. And there are a few music performances that I really loved as well. Do they interrupt the narrative flow? Absolutely, but they're great. The biggest thing that spoke to me was this monologue in the second half of the film that has to do with life moving too fast, with feeling that years are just flying by. And I think that's something a lot of people can relate to, especially as they get older. Eventually, it connects into this idea that when you're not being honest with yourself, when you're not living authentically, it feels like you're watching it happen to someone else, and a fictional reality can feel more real than your actual life. How that can lead to feeling that you're running out of time and running out of air because because you're being crushed by the box you have forced yourself into. Obviously, and Jane Schoenbrunn has spoken about this a lot, the film is very much about the trans experience, and that's something I cannot speak on. But that need to be honest with yourself about who you are, how isolating and lonely that experience can be, and how fictional media can help you process your feelings, that I think is something many people can connect to and something that definitely resonated with me. And once again, I keep talking about the movie's emotional impact rather than the storytelling or the characters, and that is why I say that it has issues narratively. Let me put it this way. If you're someone who loves a well-told story, something that has a clear structure, or something where a bunch of elements come together to form a clear picture, this probably will not be the movie for you. The other thing I struggled with was the actual line delivery, the way the actors talk. It's often very monotone with long pauses, and this kind of line delivery pretty much never works for me. It just feels awkward, and it takes me out of the movie because I start thinking about how people don't really talk like this in real life, and if someone did talk to me like that, it would drive me insane. This might seem like a minor nitpick, but it's a stylistic choice that, as a viewer, I just can't ignore. At the end of the day, I can't say that I Saw the TV Glow was really the movie for me, even though there is a lot about it that I appreciated and enjoyed. It's actually one of those movies where I love the discussion and hearing what other people took away from it more than the movie itself. But if someone told me that this was their favorite film of the decade and that it really spoke to them unlike anything else, I would completely understand. It's very clearly a deeply personal experience from the filmmaking perspective and from the viewer perspective. The same way I would also understand if someone said that they hated every minute of it and it was absolutely not for them. Also, a valid take. It's just that kind of movie. It really could go either way. Because of that, this is a tough movie to recommend or to not recommend. If you're a fan of We're All Going to the World's Fair, you're probably going to love it. If you're someone who has struggled with your identity and with finding courage to live authentically, and you like your movies on the weird side, you're probably going to love it. But other than that, it can really go either way for you. And if you have seen this movie already, I would love to know how you felt about it, so let me know in the comments. I Saw the TV Glow is unique and emotionally impactful. It's atmospheric, nostalgic, beautifully shot, but it's an experience rather than the type of storytelling most of us are used to. It will give you a lot to think about and a lot to discuss, but if you're looking for a satisfying ending or payoff, you will not find it here. It's a movie that's not going to be for everyone, although for some, it will be very special. It's not perfect or polished, but that is also what makes it beautiful.